You're listening to the Y4Life podcast with Michelle Baum, Director of Y4Life at Lutherans for Life, where we prepare youth to be gospel-motivated voices for life. Be sure to stick around after today's live recording of our Chats for Life program to find out how you can be live too on our next Youth for Life podcast. We're going to start off with, again, COVID seems here to stay for a little while, so we are looking for ways that we can continue to do life ministry. And you can hear from each other that ministry is needed, right? That bringing Christ to each other and supporting each other, that ministry is needed, not only in this room or in this Zoom meeting, but also in your individual schools and communities. So we want to start with colleges, if that's okay. And we have three colleges, CUC, CUW, and CUNE. Who would like to go first? I can tell you I just had it in alphabetical order, which puts CUC first.
I was just about to say I volunteer Nicole as tribute.
Okay, Nicole, tell us what you are doing.
Obviously this year for CUC is a little bit different because we had the choice to either stay home and do our classes or be on campus. So we're still trying to figure out how to include everybody. But this week we are having our first event for human trafficking awareness, and every day we have sent out an email to all of the students that has a topic about human trafficking, information about it or graphics about it, a Bible verse, a prayer, and then a story of a survivor. I don't know, is that all of Jesse that was in the email?
Yeah, and then also we've included links to like additional resources because you can only put so much information in an email.
Right.
But we've been linking resources through the Polaris Project, which is one of the leading sources on information about human trafficking, as well as Hope for Justice. They're an organization that fights against human trafficking across the world. And we actually had a Zoom presentation with one of their representatives last night. It was really a great presentation, and like having other people who don't really have any baseline knowledge about human trafficking, like getting them in there and getting them more information and how to spot the signs and what to do. If you find yourself in a situation where you think you're interacting with someone who is being trafficked, and like how you can help them and how you can, get help for them. And then on Friday, for students who are on campus, we secured the rights to do a screening of a documentary about human trafficking. So tomorrow night at 7, we're going to do a screening on campus for students as like a ending capstone for this event for us to kind of wrap up this discussion about human trafficking. And then throughout chapel, we've prayed for a different portion of human trafficking for chapel every day. And then that's streamed, so that's interacting with students both on campus and at home. So Monday, we prayed for those who are involved in sex trafficking. Tuesday, we prayed for those involved in labor trafficking and domestic servitude. Wednesday, we prayed for organizations that fight against human trafficking. Today, we actually prayed for those who traffic, that they may repent and see like the errors of their ways. And then tomorrow, we're praying for survivors of human trafficking as they transition back into, their home life and being with their family and friends. So for us, this was kind of a great way to introduce a lot of new people on campus to the concept of life issues in a way that was more open and something that everyone can really get behind as far as this is a real issue that needs to be addressed, and it's one that's not nearly talked about enough. And given our situation where we are in Chicago, this is one of those topics that is very relevant to our community, but not necessarily a hot button issue that may cause conflict on campus. So this was just a way for us to kind of reach out and bring people into the discussion about life issues without necessarily putting people off from the get-go.
Yeah, and that's important, what Jesse's just bringing up. So for those of you who are just starting life teams, and I know there are some of you that are very young as a life team, and that is you want to look at the needs of your community, what your community is already doing, and maybe partner with them. You definitely want to hit some bullseye topics, which are like life-saving topics like abortion, physician-assisted suicide. But you may not want to start there. If life topics and life issues are very new to your organization or to your school, then sometimes it's better to start with a topic that we can all agree it's not okay. We can all agree that human trafficking is never okay, right? And so especially if it's an appropriate topic for your area, and if you live near a city, human trafficking is happening. It is happening. It's happening in some small towns too, but it's If you're in a city, it's happening. Okay, anything else, Jesse or Nicole?
Kind of going off what you said about wanting to hit those bullseye topics, what we're looking forward to hopefully next month is suicide awareness and mental health. Again, that's something that's really relevant to our community of college students. And it even applies to high school students and adolescents in general. But that is one of those bullseye topics that we can really get everyone on board for, to really remind people of the intrinsic value of life and that they are worthy, and kind of build that life issue morale on campus so that everyone can see that they're not only worthy of love and receive God's love daily, but everyone is.
Right, exactly. So again, if you guys are jotting down notes, these are great notes to take. These are, and I'll send you a few notes that I have at the end, but definitely suicide is one of those topics that is a bullseye and is very relevant to your age group in particular. Good. Any other topics you guys want to mention that are coming up? Or
we had our first meeting last weekend, so we're kind of going to be basing the rest of the year off of the interest that we had from our new members and the people who have been involved before with Y4Life. I think that we're going to revisit the refugee crisis situation and hopefully do more with the refugees that are in Chicagoland, in ways that we can serve them and educate about that crisis. And then other interest was like healthcare and things that are more applicable to, when you start to become an adult and have to make those decisions for yourself about getting vaccines, and is it an ethical vaccine and things like that. There was some interest in learning more about that. So we're probably going to approach those subjects and kind of get more information and education for our community.
Excellent. Okay, any questions for them? I have one. Has the online component worked well? Because that's something I know, like Lutheran North has a lot of students that are online just on a daily basis, and I know other schools are. Nicole, you are in Fort Wayne. Has the online component worked well? What do you think?
So I think definitely with last night's event that we had, it worked out great because it's been really the first time that I've been able to truly participate in this event, and props to Jesse for like putting 90% of this together on campus, because he gets to actually meet with people and talk to them, and Zoom is pretty much the only way that I get to do that, or texting or emails or something like that. So it is difficult in a sense, just trying to get all the communication sorted out and then figuring out how the people who live at home are going to be able to participate and be involved with a group. I think we had 40 people sign up at our involvement fair. That was pretty much on campus, but we know we have people who are at home too that want to stay involved, and so just trying to keep everybody in the loop is a little bit difficult sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We did get some emails right when we announced the event that were super supportive, especially from the administration. And our Dean of Students office was super thankful that we were approaching the subject because they know that it's an issue that's not talked nearly enough about. But I have had people like stop me on campus and be like, I love those emails. Thanks so much for doing this. So that's for you too, Nicole, since you don't get that on campus. But I know that people have been reading them. And even if they don't read all of the information or click through all of the links, they at least have it sitting in their inbox and they've received the information. And if they're curious, they can go back because every single one is labeled with human trafficking. So it's nice and easy. And we included the hotline number in every single email. So there's resources available to people if they find themselves later on thinking, oh, I want to learn more about that. I remember when we did an event, and then they can go back and check on that.
Yep. Excellent. So as we go on tonight, again, be thinking about how each school is maybe incorporating some of those online activities. How could you do that? Should COVID require everybody to be out of school for a while like it did this spring? How can we continue to move forward? Because life issues are very real now. They will always be real, but especially with COVID, you even mentioned, you saw the distance between people and the needs people have even now.
I want to ask Jesse and Nicole and maybe the other teams as you talk about this, since you're kind of focusing on certain areas and you have an idea where you want to cover, have you thought any about developing some kind of a booklet or a pamphlet that would express in just a couple of paragraphs what the focus is, what the life issue is, and then give those resources ways to help along with that, and develop that as you go through this program, so that at the end of the year you have something tangible that you can continue to work with in the future years.
Yeah, and the thing that's really nice for us with this event is that Nicole and I had a document where we drafted all the different emails and pulled all the different resources together. So even though we didn't necessarily think about doing that before, if we want to do that later, we have it all documented and we have everything listed out. And so that's even something that, if anyone else is interested in broaching human trafficking, we'd love to send that information to you. We could share the formatting of how we did it, and things like that, and what we included, in campus life as far as chapel prayers and things like that, as a resource for other teams that maybe are interested in approaching human trafficking but don't know much about it yet.
And again, if you want a link to the human trafficking event that we had in Chats for Life this summer, that's actually where Jesse and Nicole got the idea to go ahead and pursue this and make it one of their topics that they wanted to definitely address. So you could always get that link from me, and you could view it and say, oh yeah, this is definitely something we want to cover. And thank you for volunteering to share the information, Jesse and Nicole. That's wonderful. Okay, next would be alphabetically then Nebraska, and then Wisconsin. So if that's all right, Olivia, do you want to go ahead and go first or go next?
Yeah, I can go next.
Okay.
So for this year, our first event we just did yesterday. We did chalk art around campus, where we wrote different pro-life messages, just like choose life or love them both, or like when you formed me in the womb, like different Bible verses.
Yeah.
So we had that. And then I think our next event is going to be the pro-life movie showing, and that'll either be Gosnell or Unplanned. And we're probably going to find an outdoor area to do that, because with our school's COVID restrictions, you can only have so many people so close together in a building, so it would just be easier to do it outside.
You're on campus 100%, right? There's no students that are zooming in or offline or online, right?
Yeah, the only students that would be online are ones that do have COVID or might have COVID, so they're quarantining.
Okay.
Which has happened to quite a few students. Or if they feel uncomfortable coming to campus, they can go online. But
okay.
For the most part, we're in person.
Yeah. Okay. So at the end, think about how, after Olivia's done, think about how some of these things could be done virtually. So be thinking about that. Okay. Go ahead, Olivia.
Then we're going to be involved in 40 Days for Life again. And I don't know if you want me to go into the details of how we organize that.
Yeah, at least give us an overview, what you do, because I think that's probably, how many of you have participated in 40 Days for Life before? Okay, so that's what I thought. So this is just at least explain kind of what you guys do.
Yeah, so 40 Days for Life is an organization that picks certain times out of the year. So the next one that's coming up is this month, I believe, and it's 40 days before the election. The idea is to have someone always praying in front of an abortion clinic for 40 days. So they have a sign up and a schedule for you for different groups, or if you just want to go by yourself. So we go on the 40 Days for Life website and we find the Planned Parenthood Lincoln location that we go to, and they have a schedule for people or groups to sign up and pray and have a time slot to pray in front of the clinic. So how we organize it is we have a Google Docs form that we send out to all of our members and find out what times work best for them, find out who can drive, so that we can carpool together. We ask people to bring their LSBs, and we've even created sort of a mini order of service for praying in front of the clinic.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we have scripture readings, we sing psalms, and we sing hymns, and we pray, and we kind of go through a cycle for about an hour. We'll do a prayer, a scripture reading. I can't remember what order it's in, but we do a prayer, scripture reading, singing a psalm, and singing a hymn, and then we have 5 minutes of silent prayer or like individual prayer, and then we do the same thing again, and we do that for an hour roughly in front of the Planned Parenthood in Lincoln.
Excellent.
So that's coming up pretty soon this month. And at some point we want to have the Lutherans for Life cross display on our campus, which we also did last year. And that represents the number of unborn children aborted each day. So I think last year it was like 2,800 crosses that we set up on campus, and we just laid them out in the grass. And that was probably like our most successful event in terms of like how many people we reached. On our social media, it says that it reached like over 10,000 people.
Awesome.
Like engaged over 10,000 people, and we got a bunch of likes, a bunch of comments and shares. So there were a lot of people that were really moved by the display.
So was that through Students for Life?
That was through Lutherans for Life.
Really?
No.
Or is it through National Right to Life?
You know what? It might be the Nebraska. Yeah, it might be Nebraska LFL or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the state federation has the crosses, and you work with the state federation there to get those crosses. So
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't. Joanna would probably know more because she was the one that organized it more. But yeah, it was something Nebraska affiliated. Now that I'm thinking about it.
The Nebraska State Federation Lutherans for Life. Okay, that makes more sense. All right.
I'll just go quickly through other ideas that we have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Life Chain Sunday, which is in October, and that's where you stand on like the side of the road and you mostly just peacefully silent. You can do prayers and you're holding like Y4Life signs. We're thinking about doing another Students for Life display, and also thinking about having Michelle Bauman come on campus to speak, because our campus is allowing visitors now. So
Excellent.
That is a possibility. And then we do the Walk for Life in Lincoln and the March for Life in DC.
And you guys are going to be able to do the March for Life?
We are still planning on it.
Awesome. Okay. How could some of those things be done online? What do you think about the chalk drawings? What could you do? If you were at home, quarantined at home, what could you do?
We could have some sort of like chalk contest where people, draw pro-life chalk like around, wherever they're at, and like send in a picture or do something like that.
Absolutely. If you're online, could you participate with praying in the group if you had a phone that had the ability to do it live? Could you have people join you from other areas?
I have not thought about that.
That might be
a possibility.
Might be an opportunity. Even they could, participate in the prayers or the singing. The singing might be hard, but the prayers definitely, that sort of thing. So, any other ideas you guys have? Okay. Thank you, Olivia. Wonderful. You guys have a plate full of things. Caroline, this is Concordia, Wisconsin.
Yes. All right, so our year does look pretty different, just obviously with all of our COVID restrictions. This year, we used to have meetings every other week, and this year we decided to have meetings once a month. And we do have them in person, just 6 feet apart and everybody masked. But actually, we had our first meeting last week, and we had the most number of people that we've had since I've been here. And I'm a junior this year, so that was pretty exciting. We are going through the Equal Rights Institute, has a pro-life course on how to talk to pro-choice people and like how to like really be effective in your communication. And so I would highly recommend it to all of you. It's been awesome. All of our leaders took the course over the summer, and now we're going through like the modules together. And so we'll like watch one of the modules and then like have like small groups discuss. So that's been really cool. And then other than that, we're kind of focusing on service this year. So each month we have like a service project planned. This month we went to a place of refuge, which is actually connected to the LCMS churches in the area have a pregnancy home. And so there's mothers who live there. So we went and like cleaned out their garage for them, and that way they can like accept more donations now of like items to store. We also are helping with childcare at Place of Refuge, so if moms ever need a break, we go and hold their babies, which is super fun. And then we're also making baby blankets next month, I think, and then I think December we're making cards for people who are in nursing homes or shut-ins. We have a lactation room on campus, so we're going to clean that up and like kind of refurbish it. And then going through our Pregnant on Campus initiative, we're going through all of the resources that we have in our resource guide. And so like updating those and making sure that they're all updated. And then I think in October, we're having a prayer vigil or like a service for the unborn, and so that'll be outside and then just kind of focusing mostly on prayer and then like a moment of silence for the unborn.
When was that?
It's going to be in October.
Okay.
And then we're also going to Blessed Again to volunteer once a month. Last year we had groups going like every week, but we're just kind of, a lot of the volunteers there are kind of older. So that is, Blessed Again is a secondhand store that all of the proceeds from Blessed Again go to helping Place of Refuge, which is the pregnancy home. And so we are trying to get our people in there like once a month, just kind of to help them like restock and go through items and stuff.
Great. And with the ideas that they had, what sort of things could be done at home? If you were someone, if your school had to say, okay, we're taking 2 weeks off, everyone's quarantined, what are some of those things that could be done?
Yeah, unfortunately, like we wouldn't be able to do Blessed Again or Place of Refuge, but we could do like baby blankets, like, because we're just going to make tie blankets, so people could make tie blankets at their houses. And then like we can make cards at home. We could do our meetings over Zoom. Zoom is kind of funky with like watching the module videos. So that might be a little dysfunctional, but like we could Zoom for our meetings, and we could have like the prayer vigil service live streamed.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have a lot of options there. That's great. Any questions you guys have for them? For Caroline, for Olivia, Jesse or Nicole? Great job, colleges. Yes, Olivia?
Question about the prayer vigil. So have you guys done that before?
We have not. It's
okay.
We're adding this year.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. We might do that here too.
Good.
And it's definitely something high schools can do as well. So if you guys, wanted to do that, even at your high school for a day or at a local congregation, that would be an option. Ella, you had a question?
What did you say the pregnancy module thing was in the beginning?
It's called the Equal Rights Institute. They have a course, and I think it's just if you Google the Equal Rights Institute, like you can see their online course. CUW, like our Students for Life group, just bought like a whole bunch of them in bulk. I think if you buy in bulk, they're cheaper, and then like that way we can share these access codes with like our members. So we didn't end up having to pay for it, but like I doubt it's super expensive and definitely worth it.
So Equal Rights Institute, Josh Brahm, B-R-A-H-M, that's who you want to look up if it doesn't come up under ERI. But yeah, they do have wonderful modules. LFL uses that for our training as well. So excellent resource. Any other questions? So we have a few high schools on. We want to give them a little bit of time as well. What are some things that you guys are doing? I know we have Lutheran High School here. We have Trinity here. I know we have other high schools represented. We'll hear from those two high schools, and then if we have others that want to jump in, then that's great. All right, so Lou High first or Trinity? Alphabetically, it would be Lou High.
All right. So we're Saints for Life, and our mission is motivated by the gospel. Saints for Life is serving the community, advocating for all life with a Christ-centered attitude. How we got started, last year we did a March for Life downtown, and our teacher / congregator, Mr. Frick, had the idea, and it basically became like a reality, and then it was mostly student led, and we all just kind of became a group, and then Mrs. Bauman's leadership retreat solidified it and our group and our mission. what we have done so far, we have done the march and then the retreat, meeting with other groups with similar goals. And then we have continually had weekly meetings on Wednesdays for around an hour. So we're still meeting up. And then Chats for Life, and then our homeless drive during homecoming week. And then we've also gained a lot of new members. And then we have adopted a pastor into our group, and he is from St. John Lutheran Church and School. His name is Pastor Luke.
So what we're for, we're just advocating for those who can't and advocating for life in our community and just trying to educate our school and our community on the life issues and celebrating all life. So kind of our main goals is to make it to the National March for Life in DC next year. So we're trying to do our best for fundraising, and we're just trying to support life and to, again, like educate. And we have a website, but I'm not sure how developed it is. But last time I checked, we have a website, and I think we have a website off of the Lutheran High School website. And for the homeless drive, we did that this last week. So basically, each class was asked to brought in a new item every day. So there would be in total 16 items brought in. The class that would win would get points added to our like Saints games, which is like during homecoming when all of our classes go against each other in different like games like dodgeball and like tug of war. So they'd get points added to that. So that would try and get people to bring in more items. So a lot of students brought in a lot of items. So we had 3,225 items brought in, and we're still asking for more to make more packages. So we've made 80 care packages for homeless people that we're going to give out to, I think we're giving them out to a teen homeless resource center that will give them out there. So we're trying to get more items just so we can balance them out, because right now we have like a lot of like, let's say toothpaste and not a lot of some of the other items.
Yeah, if you're on Instagram and you follow Saints for Life, they posted a couple of pictures today of those packets. So it was pretty exciting. And of course, you guys met the individual who's in charge of urban ministry in the LCMS through one of the Chats for Life presentations. And so we're able to connect that way and create those kits. So you guys did an awesome job. What are any other things that you're planning for in the coming months? I'd heard maybe a bingo night or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about having a bingo night, and I think we were planning on having a kickball tournament, but then that didn't really happen just because of with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
And I think we're trying to have speakers come in. So we might ask you, Mrs. Bauman, to come in, but we're trying to get speakers come in just because right now, once school started, we basically just started working on the homeless drive.
Again, that's a great first approach. Like nobody will argue that the homeless are not important people and that we want to rectify that situation, right? We don't want homelessness. And so it's one of those areas that's in the outer ring when we look at a target rather than that middle ring, but it's okay to start there and move in. Now, obviously like Concordia, Nebraska, they're already hitting those targets with abortion, Concordia, Chicago with suicide, Concordia, Wisconsin also with abortion. And those are life topics that you want to reach, but it's okay to do some of those outer ring too. Do you guys have any plans to hit one of those main bullseye topics? Do you know? Is that one of the things you guys have talked about yet this year? I thought you were going to talk about suicide.
Yeah, I think we were planning on having a speaker come in and talk about suicide probably next month during the mental health month.
Yeah, okay.
Also, we put like little notes on cards and verses and put them in everybody's locker at the school.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Okay, so we have Lutheran North and we have Trinity still. Did you want to make a presentation, Lutheran North?
Lutheran North has a lot going on, and we feel like we're having trouble raising interest. So we have lots to say. We don't have a lot of people who care, and due to our hybrid schedule, it's very difficult for us to schedule meetings for ourselves, and so we haven't been able to do much. We're still in the idea gathering phase. So any and all advice on garnering interest and just helping people care, right? We need to sell why you should care. So it's a very controversial community, so we need all the help we can get.
Yeah, okay. So definitely, if there's anybody who wants to address that, again, some of these online activities that we're brainstorming tonight, Lutheran North hopefully will be able to use some of those things. I just spoke with Mrs. Roth today, and she said, yeah, we just need some ideas for online activities. So you guys are hopefully taking notes like mad, right? Maybe not. It's all up here, right? Okay, good.
Do you mind elaborating a little bit more about why you think it's complacent and what is the struggle? What do you see?
If I'm perfectly honest, a lot of our community is filling their headspace with a lot of other things. So our community is very racially diverse. So a lot of their headspace goes to the race riots that have been happening, the Black Lives Matter protests, and we had several large ones a while back in St. Louis. Just up the street, one of the police departments had rioters outside there. And so it's been unrest. And so a lot of the headspace in our community is devoted away from the matters of life at hand or perceived life at hand. We know that racial issues connect, but we have a difficult time bringing the focus to the issues of life. And it doesn't help that our school, because we're very strong in educating people online, we've had a system in place for years, but when it comes to things like chapel and small group, when it doesn't just check a box, it deals with temporary worries like the Black Lives Matter protests and the coronavirus, which are life issues, but the attitude towards them is different than the one we would like to be engendering, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
You know?
Yep.
Have you any opportunity to maybe share just facts? For example, what is the number one cause of death of African Americans under age 25? And just put that information out in order to generate interest. It's not crime and guns and violence. It's the violence in the womb. And actually to share those statistics might open up some eyes.
Yeah, and I think Mrs. Roth, our leader, is hoping to put together a meeting of our group later next week to try and get some semblance of a structure in place to get us off the ground and moving.
Yeah, I think maybe Wednesday. So hopefully you can bring some of these ideas with you.
I noticed you were recording, so I'm hoping that.
Yep, she's going to get the
Roth
link.
isn't here. Because Mrs. Roth isn't here, she can hopefully watch the video and get some ideas and double check me and make sure I communicate everything effectively to her.
Sure.
So Nicole and I were in a very similar situation. So 2 years ago, it was basically 3 people in Y4Life, basically Nicole and I, and then the current leader, Irene, at the time. And so we are by no means, experts at increasing interest or anything like that. But we found that we've gotten the best reception from, I think, the refugee crisis simulation that we actually did on campus. And then other things that we've done that have been interactive. So we did a baby shower last fall that people came to and really enjoyed, and we raised awareness for a crisis pregnancy center. And then we're actually able to donate a lot of things to them. So those interactive elements are really useful for helping people see like what this is actually all about, and that there are individuals behind all of these stories that you're telling about these life issues. And I know that that's really hard, especially now when you can't, all get together and do a refugee simulation, but finding ways to make the connection between the people in your community and the people that you're trying to serve so that they can see that it's not just a paper with facts, but it's a human being with a beating heart and a child of God that you're trying to raise awareness for and literally save lives depending on the topic that you're discussing.
I couldn't have said it better. Well done, Jesse. All right. So Trinity, it's your turn.
So we were having some of the same issues as the last school did, with not very many people coming to our meetings and stuff. So our first actual event that we are doing this year is in less than 15 hours. We are doing an ice cream social during our lunch period, and we are giving away free ice cream, which everybody will eat, or almost everybody. And just to kind of raise awareness for what we do and that we exist to the freshies who don't know we exist. And we plan to do more in the future. And we did struggle this last spring with not being able to meet in person. So, and we really didn't do all too much over online. So that is probably one contributing factor to not being able to raise a whole bunch of excitement or get a whole bunch of people to come to our meetings, because we hadn't done anything for the last 7 months. So, and then, I mean, last year, there was a lot of people that participated in a lot of things, and we're just trying to get people back into the swing of it and hope that people show up, because we can do things at school apart from have visitors come in, because everybody's there and they just don't want us to have visitors come in, which is a bummer, but we can still do things.
So what are some of the areas you're hoping to address this year, or maybe that you did address last year?
So last year we had a pastoral panel of 4 pastors come in, and for every one of our theology classes, they talked about suicide prevention and just the experience of it, and how they had experienced it, and that was really interesting to see. And we hope to do it again, maybe on a different topic of abortion or homelessness or something along those lines. And then we also, Mrs. Bauman came in last year and did a presentation about the life groups, and we hope to have her come in again. But we obviously can't do anybody coming in right now because our school's not allowing it. But we do hope to do some service events to help people in the community and to raise awareness for people in the community. Around where we live, there is a decently large drug problem, and it would be, in my opinion, it would be good to raise awareness for that and try to support people that are going through trying to get off of it or are struggling with that addiction.
You also have Pregnancy Care Center that students are involved in serving at different times as well. So yeah. So we've done a lot of sharing, and I want to just give you a few other ideas that you can include in your hat of tricks, or whatever, your bag of tricks that you would like to maybe use in the future or incorporate. I know that LFL can certainly help in that way. A lot of you have encouraged others to participate in Chats for Life, and I would encourage you to continue to do so. Feel free to advertise and get people involved that way. That's an easy online opportunity. Also, some of the students talked about a retreat this spring, and I am willing to travel with that retreat. So I have one planned for college students and another version for high school students. So in your area, if you want to retreat and you think you have enough youth that would be willing to participate, we can make that happen. In addition, we have a new online opportunity called What About Mondays, and that's going to be the second Monday of every month. And that will be at 7 p.m. Eastern. So these start at 8 Eastern. That will be a little bit earlier. And What About Mondays is an opportunity for you to come and ask questions about life topics. It is student-led. If you come and you just want to practice talking back and forth, you can give me a question and we can do a practicing how do you speak in a pro-life manner. That would be an opportunity to do that. So again, that would be the second Monday then of October. If you know of someone at a public university, please send them my way, because we are starting public universities. Also on-site visits. So some people have said, hey, I want to have Mrs. Bauman come in, Michelle come in and speak. I know there's some high schools that are closed down right now, but when those high schools open up, if you'd like me to come and do an introductory presentation, I can do that, or on a topic. And we have some other speakers at LFL as well. Usually I'm the first person that goes in, but that doesn't mean that I have to be the only person that goes in. So definitely think about that. And we have a couple of other activities that are going to be geared online. Now, first of all, March for Life in Washington, D.C. How many of you are thinking about going to the march in person? So quite a few of you, that's great. Keep thinking that, because we will be signing a contract, LFL will be next week with our hotel. So my hope is to get you information within 2 weeks as to where our hotel is going to be, the costs associated with that. So be watching for that. But in addition, LFL is building a Life Week. It'll be starting January 23rd, that Saturday, thank you, that Saturday, and it will go all the way through January 30th. So the 23rd through the 27th, there are going to be online activities, and every day is going to have a different theme. So, once we have that all kind of typed up and figure out, I will send that out to you. But in addition to those themes, we're going to have educational events for those themes, fact sheets that we send out to you guys, activities that you can do on your campus, whether it's high school or college, and we will send these things out ahead of time, but also hopefully the day of, so that you can plan ahead and say, yeah, we really want to do this activity. Here's how we prepare for it. There will also be competitions and challenges. So I know like the Concordias have a challenge that they're going to do that involves videos. They're going to talk about why and hopefully get votes online, and there will be prizes. So and I'll be able to share more about that in particular as we get a little bit closer, but keep that in mind. Let your groups know. That would be a great opportunity for you to build enthusiasm for your group, especially considering some of your high schools are opening up more, will open up more next semester than they will this semester. So it's a great kind of reboot in the beginning of the year to get more participation. So if you can't come to the March for Life in Washington, D.C., that's okay. There are marches in your area, and I would encourage you to attend one of those and take your group with you. That's an awesome opportunity. But the things that we do when we're out in Washington, D.C., which is the 28th through the 30th, we hope to make those live events. The only event we may have a difficult time with is the actual march itself, just because last year when people were out there, the bandwidth could not support everyone's phone. And so there are a lot of people taking video, but it didn't upload, until hours later. So that probably won't be live. But there will be other opportunities, other things at our conventions, at our conference center that will be live. So I hope you can join us, but if you can't, there will be ways that you can connect virtually. You guys have come up with a lot of great opportunities, and you're doing such great work. I am so proud of you. I have kind of some other ideas to share with you that if you'd like more, and I will send them in the notes, like how could we include some things online, challenges, meetings, that sort of thing. But feel free to add to those notes, pass them on, make it a working document, and move forward. So thank you again for joining tonight. Please let me know if there's anything that we can do to help you and your life team. Any final questions? Okay. Well, round of applause for all of you. Well done. Keep up the good work. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks to talk about bioethical issues with the production or reproduction and the use of embryos. So thank you very much for coming tonight, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's life topic. Check out Y4Life.org or email Michelle at Y4Life.org to find out how and when you can go live with us at our next Chats for Life session. Or join us next time, right here at Y4Life Podcasts, where youth learn how to be gospel-motivated voices for life.